Hey, this is Jim at Broadfield. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Broadfield Live every Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. As you can see, I am being joined in the studio today by our head of sales engineering, Glenn Seaman. Glenn, thank you for joining us.
My pleasure as always.
Always a pleasure to have you in the studio. We are doing some work in our studio here, and Glenn is working with the production team to make sure that all of our stuff is up and going. We are transitioning our live production system to the Twitling Studio Pro. We are identifying instant replay and sports production tools like Riedel, and that's what I wanted to talk to you about today. Glenn and his team have been putting a ton of work into the Riedel product line to help our dealers figure out how to quote some of these live production systems. That was not an easy undertaking, was it?
No, it is a very long price list with lots of options, lots of different configurations and licenses and so forth.
And as much as we love the configurations, and when you head out into the field to talk to your clients about sports production and instant replay, those configuration options are a very powerful tool to add to your business and to your relationship with your clients. What it doesn't do from my perspective is make these solutions easy to sell. So what I did was work with Glenn and his team to put together some bundles that give you an idea of what these solutions look like in a typical workflow and configuration, and then you can use that to start the conversation with your customers and configure exactly what they need. The analogy I use all the time is buying a new car. Now we're identifying the marketplace where you can show your customers the BMW Model 3, Model 5, and Model 7, and now they can configure the color and the options that they want for the production workflow along the way. So, Glenn, let's talk a little bit about Riedel and what they bring to the production marketplace.
Yeah, and we've been big fans of Riedel for a long time. We've worked with them. We were early adopters into the SimplyLive platform way back in 2019, and then all kinds of things happened. But things are really nice. It is a modern architecture. They are systems that can do replay, can do video switching, can do titling, can do everything that you want, but very tactile, much more touchscreen, also built from the ground up to be multiple users, remote production, all those types of things. So it's really a truly modern step forward in a platform.
Absolutely, and if you're familiar with the Riedel name, it really does come from that broadcast production space. The head of Riedel actually just purchased RE cameras as well, so they're really looking to build this ecosystem of professional workflow solutions. The two solutions we're going to talk about and get started with at Broadfield are the RiMotion Instant Replay solution and the SimplyLive all-in-one production suite. Glenn will tell us a little bit more about how each of these systems compare in the marketplace today.
Yeah. So really, the way I look at it is, RiMotion, you can, and we'll get into some pictures in a minute, but you've got a tactile control surface. But again, like I said, it's all touchscreen. So the beauty of that is they look at it. They look at a lot of the generation of people that are coming up. They're so used to doing things from an iPhone or from a tablet and touching things. So you've built that, but the neat thing about the architecture, again, is like I said, is it's all built for remote production. So you have the central server, so all these are based off of a server platform. They're going to have different inputs on them, so number of channels that you want, and then you're accessing that server, and you can either access that server directly, or you can access that server through a Nook computer that can be located anywhere. And that's really kind of the neat thing, is I can have the server on site where the production's happening, and I can have my operator anywhere in the world just accessing it over the internet.
So RiMotion gives you that instant replay capability, both on-site or in a remote workflow. The easiest way I like to think about it, it is their competitive or comparative solution to the 3Play systems, where the SimplyLive all-in-one production suite is going to take all of that RiMotion instant replay capability, combine it with the video switching and production capabilities, so that is going to be compared against your TriCaster Vision with 3Play systems. And just competitive at that way.
And they're stepping into the higher space too. I would look at RiMotion not as just a replay replacement, but also starts to get into the EVS and the other higher end replay solutions as well. And you've got that if you're just doing replay, and you've got a couple people doing replay, great. The all-in-one allows me to do my video production and my replay, so I can actually do simultaneously. If I've got two operators, I can have somebody doing the replay, I can have somebody doing the production and the end game as well.
Perfect. And what we've done is started the conversation with a complete solution. Our goal was to build the bundles that, again, you can start that conversation with your client. It is going to be completely flexible, configurable, especially when you start talking about those remote production workflows. They have the ability now to add second, third users to access the system without necessarily the investment in larger hardware or infrastructure, right?
No, and that's where it becomes neat is, you look at, and really it's just the addition of a license and another Nook computer, and you've suddenly got another user on it. So now you've got a system that's being used for two things. So you're actually saving as you scale up.
Absolutely. And Glenn, you and your team have the PhD in the Riedel price sheet at this point.
Yeah.
You can read it, you can understand it, and you can configure the RiMotion systems. So let's start with RiMotion,
Yep.
and let's start with some of the different things that you've done in building these configurations together. These are instant replay systems at the heart, right?
Yeah, so what we did was really simple. We looked at the main core configurations, and we based it mainly on the outputs and the number of users. So we've got a 6-channel, 8-channel, 10, all the way up to a 12-channel. When you step to the 12-channel, we actually have bundled in that second user, that second control surface, and the Nook, so that you do actually have, with all those 12 channels, you can actually have 6 channels for 2 different types of things. You can do a variety of different stuff. But really what we started off was just the hardware configurations of what it is, and then that's your starting point. So that's where when you start talking to your end user, you say, okay, great, I think we want the R8, we want an 8-channel replay, and then you can pick up the phone, call the CPQ crew, and we will sit there and help you through and fine tune those quotes. But these are, like Jim said, this is how okay, this is what a 3 series costs, this is what a 4 series costs, and this is my starting point.
Yes, absolutely. And that starting point all starts with the processing unit and the instant replay controller, that RC200 configured into it. But it also includes all of the software and licensing that you would need to include in that quote. And of course, because of the time we live in, the tariffs are all figured into these bundles as well, right?
Right. Yeah. So we baked the tariffs into that price point. All the licenses are perpetual. So the neat thing is, and you have that option. But with with all of the SimplyLive and RiMotion products, you have that ability to say, okay, I want to do an annual license, I want to do a subscription-based license, or perpetual license. So again, there's other ways that we can tweak these prices to help fit where your end user may need to be or where your needs are.
Absolutely. So again, you'll see in each of these bundles here, you have the processing unit, the server, you have the backend and the client software, and giving you that video replay capability in a permanent software license, or a perpetual license, right? And then of course the RC200 controller. The R12 that we're looking at adds a little bit more to that bundle, because now you're adding in the tools for that remote user, that second user, right?
So what we've got in there, you'll see, is you've got the Nook PC, so that's just a small dedicated PC, which is how the second user accesses it. And again, that can be on-prem or that can be anywhere. We've got a second user license and a second RC200 controller for them.
Perfect. And again, these are all configured in quotes with Riedel. When you start working with your client, these are built to start the conversation. We expect to see very few quotes coming in exactly as these bundles are going to be configured. There's going to be other things that you need to design and work within your workflow. There is a launch pack, for example, that we've put together with Riedel, giving you the ability to offer your customers a 3-hour commissioning service, 3 hours of technical training, and 3 hours of operator training. This is important not only for Broadfield, because we're new to Riedel and what RiMotion offers, but it's also a great service for our integrators to offer to their clients, right?
No, and it's a great package. You can get more, but this is kind of the minimum that we look at is 3 hours. So a total of 9 hours of technical training, commissioning, and product training to get your folks going, get them rolling, really take a lot of pressure off of you as the dealer too, of not knowing everything about the product.
Absolutely.
So that is the starting point. So that is part of the package. So you basically start with, great, I want the RiMotion 8, I want the launch pack for the 3 hours,
and the conversation starts that easily. And then as you start getting more advanced, now you can add stuff like support with Riedel Care, and you can add the super slow-mo plugin, or that Nook giving you that remote user access, right?
Right. Yeah, so the Nook can be added to any unit. So if, again, you want to have a case where, I want to have it on the, down by the field, and I want to have my operator somewhere else, you can use the Nook for that. The super slow-mo plugin is great. So if you've got anybody working with those super slow-mo cameras, you now have the ability to work with that in the replay system as well.
Perfect. And we did not include Riedel Care in any of those sample bundle configurations because Riedel Care varies significantly based on the hardware that's being put into that ultimate bundle solution. So when you worked with Glenn and the CP crew over here at Broadfield, and they help you get your customers to the final bundle solution for their installation needs, that's when Riedel Care will be added to the package, giving your customers support for the life of that product.
It's all based off of all the options, all the hardware configurations.
Sure.
So it's, yeah, it was one of those things that made it a little difficult to kind of figure out the price book, but it's really a nice package. So you're only paying for the support and the care for the product you really have.
Absolutely. And that's what works great about those configurable options. Now, of course, when we get into the SimplyLive all-in-one production suite, again, it is an all-in-one production suite in that it offers both the switching and the replay capability. It gives you the ability to add graphics, audio integration, all of this in that powerful hardware, right?
Right, and that's the cool thing is now, if you've got a situation where, hey, sometimes we are just doing production and then sometimes we're doing replay, you don't have to buy two systems. You buy one system and you can say, hey, it's this or it's that. Today we're doing, today we're doing the graduation ceremony. Tomorrow we're doing the baseball game.
Exactly.
Or, oh my God, the baseball game and the graduation are going on at the same time. Add that second NUC, add that second user, and you can now produce both things simultaneously.
Absolutely, and that's where the all-in-one production suite really becomes completely flexible, is it's not just multiple users on the same production timeline, on the same production project. It really is like setting up multiple systems, all available to all your operators. So that's where the all-in-one really comes in. It's fewer systems, leaner crews, leaner production resources. You can really just take that and scale it to every production application across the campus, for example.
It covers everything. And it's really been a nice system, and it's just a different way of looking at things of, again, I don't have to have two devices. I don't have to have two systems. I don't have to double everything. I've just got one system that covers everything. Switching, replay, my graphics, my audio, and it'll do streaming. So it is a great turnkey solution.
And when you talk about a scalable solution, obviously the next question is going to be making sure you have the right hardware and the right horsepower to handle all those production needs. And that's where you and your team have built these sample configurations to kind of bring you along that power, right?
Right. We did the exact same thing where we just looked at it based upon the outputs. So feature sets all the same. It's just going to really be the number of outputs that you need, number of inputs, so really the number of channels that you're looking for. And we did the same thing, 6, 8, 12, all the way up to 16 in this case, to give you that full capability. And again, you're going to be in either a 1RU or a 2RU rack mount server system. You add the NUC when you need it, and you're good to go.
Completely configurable. These can all change. Again, we wanted to give the good, better, best, and really better in order to give you that starting point to have these conversations. As you start talking to your customers, you can start with a price sheet just like you see on the screen here. We've worked with Riedel, and Glenn has done a great job with his team in putting together a price sheet that is going to be very familiar to the way our dealers and integrators do business. That price sheet is done from very detailed quotes that led us to each one of these rows. When we get with you in talking about the project, we're going to go back to those detailed quotes, making sure that everything is included that their customers need. And when we talk about all of the add-ons for the RiMotion before, there are some add-ons easily available for the all-in-one systems as well, right?
Right. Yep. You can add, you've got the same thing where you've got your launch service packs. It's the same thing where we've built that support structure that 3 hours of training, 3 hours of commissioning, 3 hours of technical training and the user training. And then you can add your second or third user. So that's the beauty of it. When you get up to that 16 channel one, that's got enough horsepower to have 3 different users working on these systems.
And Glenn, the one thing I will tell you is with the RiMotion Launchpad we talked about before, we did the 3, 3, and 3. To show off how configurable these options are, the all-in-one is a more advanced system.
That's right.
The Launchpad we put together is 1 day of commissioning and a half day of operator and technical training. So it's getting that additional resources The thought behind it is you're giving the replay training, you're giving the production training. You need a little bit more to get these systems up and running.
Good catch. I forgot about that one. But
No
yeah,
problem.
but that is, so it's really, it's still 3, 3, and 3, but for the 3 different types of things you can do with it.
Exactly. There you go. And that's it. And that's when you look at the difference in the launch package at $44.99 versus $19.99. That's the reason for it. If you're working with a client who says, hey, look, we need more technical training. I have a larger team that's going to come in. That can all be configured. That's the beauty of these systems. Not only are they scalable, but they are completely flexible right from the get-go. And working with our team can help you put together the right quote to win all those bids and to help you register these deals, bring Riedel into the conversation, and get everything done correctly right from the get-go. And then, of course, the question comes, we talked about some of the differences between the systems. When do I quote a RiMotion system? When do I quote an all-in-one production suite?
You know, in theory, you could always do the all-in-one, because it's the best of everything. But you know, if you're really looking, if really replay is your top thing, it's going to be RiMotion.
Yep.
You know, that is what it's designed for. That's what it's built for. It comes with the RC200, so it comes with the control surface. Everything else like that, it is ready and built for that. If it is a situation where, you know, hey, we are, you know, doing both replay and also production, you know, you're going to lean in that and choose from there.
Absolutely. And what I would suggest is that you offer even that part of the conversation as the good, better, best.
Yep.
So if you identify that your customer is going to need that 6-channel system, part of the conversation could be a RiMotion 6 versus the 6-channel all-in-one production suite, showing them all that additional capability and maybe even replacing or upgrading their current production tools.
Or they could go with a 12-channel all-in-one, so they've got 6 channels that are for the replay, 6 channels that are for other productions. I mean, there's lots of different ways of carving it. Again, that's why you've got myself and my team to kind of help you with all this. Again, the price book is manageable, but there's a lot. But we're there.
There's a lot to it. It is completely customizable. Again, when you look in and you look at the bundles that we have configured on our website at broadfield.com, you can go right to the Riedel page there. It is just to give you a representation of some of those different options and what those bundle prices would come at. If you see a RiMotion 6 with an MSRP that comes in at $20,000, that's not including your software licenses and everything else that goes into the conversation. We wanted to make this as clear and as easy for all of our dealers as possible by giving you a completely configured offering that you can bring to your customers, say this is the MSRP, now let's work together to make it fit your workflow as best as can.
Yep, no, it gives you that starting point. And again, the car analogy is great. Oh, well, I can't afford that, or I don't need that. Great. So we don't do the leather seats. We do this. You know?
Exactly.
And again, you know, nice thing is, you know, that is a key point. All the licenses are included, tariffs are included, so there's no hidden charges at that point in time.
Absolutely. So you can work with Broadfield, give your Broadfield sales rep a call, give Glenn and the CP crew here at Broadfield a call to identify all of your Riedel opportunities, system opportunities, and quotes. And we will bring in the team from Riedel to help talk about those SimplyLive, get you and your sales team trained up, and look at some of the differences on RiMotion versus that all-in-one production suite. We're very excited to have Riedel added to our line card. This is just the first start of everything that they have to offer, right?
Yeah, we're also working, I mean, it's, you know, we got to do the full launch on that as well, but we've got Punctum, Bolera, we've got all the products, so we've got access to the full family of products from Riedel, and
perfect.
You're going to see more coming from us.
We are working our best to get it out as quickly as possible and to make it all digestible, so you know how to go hunt after those opportunities where Riedel makes the most sense. If you have any questions, give us a call at 800-634-5178 and tune in every Thursday at 1 p.m. for Broadfield Live. Glenn, thanks for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Broadfield Distributing is a value-added distributor of live production, streaming, video editing, and storage products. We only sell to resellers. We are always looking for new dealers, so call us at 1-800-634-5178 or email sales@broadfield.com. You'll like doing business with Broadfield because we make it easy to do business.